Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is our January 3rd week episode. We'll be talking about the IPOs which are coming in the coming week, the third week of January, and just providing a fundamental review of how we find these companies. Just want to highlight before we get started, we chose a different time today because we also want to see what time works for everyone. So thank you so much for bearing with us. And it was a short notice where I put out a notice yesterday evening saying that we'll be doing this space here. But thank you so much for joining. Just a update, if someone has joined us for the first time, do definitely follow the YouTube channel as well. आप YouTube channel ऊपर से follow कर लें ताकि you can then listen to the companies at your own pace as and when you understand when you get some time. So definitely be on the outlook for that for YouTube channel. Having said that, just want to highlight a couple of things which I want to on the outmark just say that we are not SEBI registered research analysts, so please definitely do your own due diligence. आप अपना diligence करें. This can only act as a complement to your research, but this is not a qualified opinion. Think of it as just four friends talking about what they are planning to do with their IPO strategy, with their IPO applications. So just want to send it out that do not just copy what we are doing. Definitely do your own due diligence with that. Maybe like few weeks, I think last couple of weeks, there's been no big IPO, but there has been small IPOs which have been coming here and there, and especially on the SME side, a lot of IPOs have seen quite some traction. Like last week, Friday, I think was the closing of two IPOs, Cabra Jewels and Rickov Securities, both of which had a lot of interest from the investor community. हमने वो आईपीओस भी रिव्यू कर रखे हैं अपने यूट्यूब चैनल पे, तो अगर आपने वो नहीं देखा है तो यू कैन गो अहेड एंड लिसन टू them as well. With that, maybe let me just quickly set up the order for today in which we'll be talking companies. So मैंने 5 कंपनीज का डाला था कि हम जो कवर करने वाले हैं, but it's actually 6. We'll be talking about 2 main boards today, which is Stallion Fluoro and Denta Water, because both of them are ending next week and we don't want to do a separate space for that. And then we'll be talking about 4 SMEs, Landmark Immigration, EMA Partners, Capital Numbers, and Rexpro. So that's going to be the agenda for the day. Just want to highlight that although we had put in only 5 companies, we are doing 6 because हम Denta Water भूल गए थे डालना. In terms of the order, we'll probably keep it slightly more jumbled. We'll start with Landmark Immigration and then probably go to a main board, which is a Stallion Fluoro, and then come back to a couple of SMEs and then probably close with the main board, Denta Water. So definitely be with us till the end with that. Maybe I can get started on Landmark Immigration, setting up Landmark Immigration IPO, unless Rohit, Tanmay, Yash, you guys have anything.
We should get started.
Yeah, so starting with Landmark Immigration, the company has 9 fully equipped branches and offers global education consultancy for students seeking to study abroad and immigration consultancy for visas, tourism, business, and PR, primarily in Canada. In terms of the setting up the IPO, it's a 40 CR IPO, all of which is a fresh issue. The company is coming at a market cap of 148 crores. In terms of the FY24 financials, the company did a revenue of 37 crores and a PAT of 11 crores. So 148 crores on a 11 crore PAT, so it's coming at like 13 PE. In terms of जिससे मैंने बताया 40 CR ये raise कर रहे हैं at 148 crores valuation, तो उस हिसाब से they are diluting like somewhere around 30% of their stake, which is decent. And then in terms of the LM is Shreni shares. So बेसिक सब बात कर ली हमने कंपनी की. एक बार लैंडमार्क इमिग्रेशन समझते हैं वेरी क्विकली. इट्स अ वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड कंपनी टू अंडरस्टैंड, but basically and if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box as well. basically company provides global consultancy for immigration related services. तो क्या है, कई सारे स्टूडेंट्स इंडिया से बाहर जाते हैं टू स्टडी एंड देन प्रोबेबली complete their education there. This is one such company which facilitates this for the outside यूनिवर्सिटीज. तो आपने देखा होगा कई बार वो कैरियर काउंसलिंग, अब्रॉड एजुकेशन, हायर एजुकेशन के फेयर्स लगाती हैं कंपनियां. आपको भी मैसेज आता होगा कि आपके शहर में अभी इस दिन फेयर है. दे टिपिकली कम एंड पुट इट इन अ होटल वेयर दे विल give guidance to students. So this is one such company primarily based out of Punjab, and like it majorly does the global education consultancy and then also does immigration consultancy. So essentially all factors around it. तो global education consultancy क्या हो गया कि आपको जैसे किसी स्टूडेंट को बाहर जाना है तो उनको पहले बताएगी कि व्हाट आर योर ऑप्शंस, वेयर ऑल कैन यू डू द इनिशियल काउंसलिंग वंस यू हैव जनरेटेड द लीड, एंड देन आस्क देम टू like help them prepare for IELTS, which is the exam which people have to do, and then help them with the visa, with the applications of submitting applications of what all colleges they think the student is eligible for, and then getting them approval for that, and then helping them with the visa process while the student can go for their education there per se. And like it's mostly dependent on Canada. The company has 9 branches in Chandigarh mainly, and since पंजाब में से काफी लोग वहां जाते हैं, ये अपना Canada जाते हैं. So the company is no different, and most of its revenue comes from sending people to Canada. In terms of how the revenue, company का revenue कैसे आता है, तो mostly जैसे ये जिन यूनिवर्सिटी को भेजते हैं स्टूडेंट्स को, वो उनको कमीशन देते हैं for sending students, and this is a very standardized model which a lot of players have been doing. This is more of a slightly more institutional play than your regular mom and pop shops who do this. So I kind of like the company for that. But yeah, it's that's what the company does at a very high level in terms of like I was seeing इनका रिलायंस जो है टॉप 5 ग्लोबल इंस्टीट्यूशंस गिव देम 52% ऑफ द बिजनेस इन FY24, 53%, which is okay, right? Because it's not a B2B play. It's like in universities तो उतनी होंगी. So 52% revenue जो आता है वो उन 5-6 universities से आता है. The bigger thing is almost all their business is from sending people to Canada. Like 70% business comes from that, and 30% comes from your imports, which is your basically IELTS की ट्रेनिंग दे दी बच्चों को, वीजा के एप्लीकेशन में हेल्प करी, या फिर काउंसलिंग करी, उससे जो पैसा आता है. वेरी स्मॉल परसेंटेज ऑफ रेवेन्यू एक्चुअली कम्स फ्रॉम सेंडिंग पीपल टू यूनिवर्सिटीज आउटसाइड ऑफ कैनेडा. सो इनका मेजरली अभी कैनेडा बेस्ड बिजनेस ही है. और अभी ना गवर्नमेंट के रिलेशन थोड़ा कैनेडा के साथ शोर हो गए. लाइक दे आर नॉट working as well as they used to. So that's a question mark on the business. That's a risk on the business. And in fact, कि अगर वो कनाडा वाले स्टूडेंट वीजा की क्वांटिटी कम कर दें, then that will be a problem for the company. Like I remember I was reading somewhere, again don't have the exact facts, exact quoted number, but it has went down from 5.5 lakh student visas to 4.3 lakh, something like that. Number in this FY25, but still a big number, 4.3. But what if it stops, because the company is completely relying on that. So if you are taking a bet on this company, then you are betting on the India-Canada relationships as well, which have not been doing great as such in the last few years. कनाडा की जो यूनिवर्सिटी है, जैसे एल्गोमा यूनिवर्सिटी, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कनाडा वेस्ट, कियानो कॉलेज, ये सब इनके मेजर प्लेयर हैं. ये मतलब 25% लोगों को इनका रेवेन्यू एल्गोमा से आता है, एक कॉलेज से. इन टर्म्स ऑफ कमीशन फीस, मोस्ट ऑफ देयर बिजनेस इज फ्रॉम कमीशन फीस, 90%. एंड देन देयर इज दिस 10% business which is from sending people for PR, consultancy, immigration, normal visa application. उनसे 10% business आता है. In fact, 98% of the revenue is from sending people on student visa. So it's majorly that company. In terms of balance sheet, जैसे मैं देखा balance sheet तो अच्छी है, like 42 CR investors का पैसा लगा हुआ है out of total 52 CR balance sheet size. So most of the business is from investors. इन पे कुछ प्रॉपर्टी भी है जो 99 years की लीज पे है. एंड इन पे ट्रेड रिसीवेबल थोड़े बहुत थे पैसे, बट आई थिंक कि वो क्योंकि इन बड़े कॉलेजेस से, सो आई वाज नॉट वेरी वरीड अबाउट द ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स पार्ट. In terms of two, three risks that I want to highlight, or just tidbits which I want to highlight, is A, one, the Canada risk. How does that factor in? B, I saw that पहले उससे पहले मैं बात कर देता हूँ कि कंपनी कहाँ लगाने वाली है अपना पैसा जो 40 करोड़ रेज कर रही है. So it's going to raise 11 CR. It's going to use 11 CR for setting up new branches. नई branches लगाएंगे जिससे ये basically ज्यादा बच्चों को attract कर पाए. 14 CR for advertising ताकि इनको leads मिल पाए, and 9 CR for inorganic growth is what they have planned for, and 4.7 CR they are using for the IPO process. So I felt that number was slightly high, like around 12% of the cost of 40 CR is going towards IPO. So that's also one slightly risk factor per se about the company. And then they've also changed their anchor structure of late. Like इनमें पहले anchor शायद ज्यादा था, but वो अभी सिर्फ 15% of the amount has went to into blocked anchor deals, and rest has been made for QIBs who can then exit on day one if required per se. So that's also one very small negative, although in terms of long term, that doesn't impact the company in any way as such. अब अगर मैं बात करूं कंपनी के फाइनेंशियल प्रोजेक्शंस की, सो कंपनी का रेवेन्यू जो है और पैट जो है दोनों ही बढ़ रहे हैं ओवर द लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स. They did 19 crores revenue in FY22, 21 crores revenue FY23 में, और 24 में 37 CR किया था. Bottom line भी they have went from 4 CR in 22 to 11 CR in FY24, and in this year also H1 of FY25 they have done 5.5 CR revenue PAT on 20 CR revenue. तो अगर मैं इसको एनुअलाइज भी कर दूं तो they should probably do like 11 CR of revenue again. But in an interview I had heard the promoter had clearly said that he was expecting a much bigger numbers than what his current numbers are for the first 6 months. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But still, if I was to just annualize the numbers, then it's coming at like 13 P, which seems like a decent valuation to give to a company like this, and also leaves enough on the table for growing in the future as well. So I would be applying for this company. There are a few risks. Like, I don't think this is one of those businesses which will fly like right away because of the whole impending Canada risk. So people might not want to hold this business for long, but I'm essentially positive. This is because I don't feel students stopping ever going to global consultancy colleges, and even for Canada also it's a revenue income, right? Like the Canada universities are relying on Indian students, so it would be difficult to completely stop them or reduce them. So it's a system in place, and it's something which will keep increasing, I feel. As in when we have like more income, there will be a lot of students who would want to go study abroad. So I feel this is a good proxy play for that. इसका एक listed company और है Winnie Immigration, बट वो तो like degrowth हो रही है और बहुत ही छोटी कंपनी है, और उसका PE भी बहुत ज्यादा है अभी, because it seemed like to off. So it will be wrong to compare the PE with that company, but this is getting coming in at a 13 PE, and this is one of those places which is like not a lot of people will be actively targeting. So this should have a lot easier chances compared to some of the other companies. So I will be applying for this, is what my thought process is. With that, maybe any of you guys have anything to add on this, or we can go and move forward and talk about the second company.
Just a couple of small things. I think one, just you mentioned about application. I think almost 11,000 crore has gone into Recover, and the other one, Cabra. So anyway, that leaves very little money left for Landmark. So if anyone has kept money, I think getting allotment should be somewhat easy. I feel this should not be more than 150x or so. That's fun. I think on the business itself, the Canada risk, I feel the Canada risk for students is a lot lower. I think, like you said, that there is one where certain number of PRs and certain number of residents who are trying to shift to Canada, and there's another where universities are trying to attract global talent. So I don't think there is a India-specific risk from a university angle. So I feel this may be slightly misunderstood. My sense, even from the anchor data, is that the anchors have not subscribed, which is why the anchor has fallen. Or that anchor quota has been reduced because they weren't able to subscribe the anchor fully. Giving me a little bit of like Transrail vibes, where I felt that the company was super misunderstood. And we saw the anchors are very poor in Transrail also relatively. Here anchors and my sense here is it's going to actually not give such a big pop. So if people are looking for listing pop, you may not get it, but this looks like a very decent shortish term bet. Within a month or two, I feel this company will actually do very well as the sort of naysayers leave and people start understanding this company. That's my intuitive sense. I will definitely be applying, but don't expect a very large pop. I think if anything, this will move a little bit later and requires a little bit of patience.
Yeah, but I feel, especially, you covered that point well, but especially downside is covered in this. Like, I don't think a lot of downside is there from the IPO price. Like, if someone's asking negative, khudega ke, I would probably be more inclined to say no than yes, but again, market is supreme. Let's see how it goes. So, it's one of those
I mean,
things
I
which
think
will
negative
be.
is an opportunity to buy, I feel, even in the short term, to make money in the short term. It's unlikely that this company, it's actually a very high quality company, very solid margins. At least if you look at the P&L and the balance sheet, it's very, very good. Again, on ground, I don't have that flavor, but from what you can see in the RHP, the company looks very good, very high margins, good cash flow. Like everything looked pretty strong to me. So I don't see this listing at a discount. Even if it does, it shouldn't sustain. It's not like it'll just be there for the next 6 months.
Yeah. And in terms of your first point with respect to students not having a risk, PR folks having a risk, I feel it's kind of like very honestly, very candidly, I feel a lot of students go to on student visa with the aim to work as well on their student visa hours, like especially from like let's say Punjab to Canada. And like if that policy changes, then gradually even students would not want to go because they ideally go because this is the longest term period कि वहां से education करेंगे तो फिर उनको वहां पे job भी मिलेगी on a PR. So that's also like dependent completely on that, and in the long term that should also impact, I feel, if that changes.
Possible.
Yeah, but yeah, that is what our review was with respect to landmark immigration. As I said, I'll be applying for the company. I kept in some amount where I just put retail applications in both Recov and uh, Cabra Jewels. So I might go big here, but again, definitely do your due diligence. As I said, this doesn't seem like a company which will make money in the front end. Like a lot of money might actually be made on this in back ends is what I want to probably caution folks towards. So don't expect a big listing pop in this, but yeah, again, let's see how it goes. With that, we'll move forward and start talking about the second company because we are running slightly behind time. The second company we'll be discussing is Stallion India Fluorochemicals. The company is engaged in business of selling refrigerants and industrial gases related products. It includes debulking, blending, and processing refrigerant and industrial gases and selling of refilled cans and small cylinders. If I have to highlight the company details, the company is coming up with an IPO of 199 crores, जिसमें से 161 CR fresh issue है. So company 199 crores का IPO कर रही है at a market cap of 714 crores. So they are diluting like a good 26-28% of the company. And 161 CR fresh end. So promoters are taking a partial exit. There's a OFS of 38 crores. 161 CR is fresh issue, which will go into the company. In terms of FY24 financials, revenue 236 crores hai, or PAT 15 crores hai. So at least on a PAT level, this is coming on a PE level, this company is coming at like 45 PE, but we'll understand what is in the company and its future PE kya hai, because markets will start discounting some of the future cash flows and future projections. In terms of the LM is Sathi Capital. So with that, maybe Tanmay, do you want to go ahead and talk about?
Is my voice audible?
Yes.
So Stallion India Fluorochemicals Limited is a Bombay-based supplier of refrigerant and industrial gases and allied products. In this whole segment, they have three main specific divisions. One is fluorochemicals, one is HFC, that is called hydrofluorocarbons, and the third one is HFOs. Okay. Now one will say ki yaar, refrigerant and industrial gases, do they manufacture and sell? I'll tell you the process how this company's business model is. First, they import the raw material from China, molecules होते हैं. then the test and do the quality control, then the ISO tanks. ISO is a what you can say a certification or standardization of those tanks, usko ISO tanks kehte hain. Then that tanks goes for a bulk storage, then the molecules are blended. बहुत बार a single molecule is packed, but many a times two or more molecules or that type of gas is blended. Then the quality testing is done and the gases are tested. Then the gases are filled in the pre-filled tanks, or that's big cylinders, or the small lower grammage cylinders, and then it's printed, labeled, and then it is supplied by their marketing agency. मतलब basically this company is not a manufacturer, it's a value addition, but value addition बहुत छोटा है because और आप अगर इनका raw material देखिए तो I guess 80% of their revenue is their raw material, and वो 80% में से 95% comes from China. मतलब चाइना से इंपोर्ट करता है debulking of those gases from cylinders, फिर उसको वैल्यू एडिशन करके पैकेज करके बेचते हैं अंडर ब्रांड नेम ऑफ स्टैलियन. इट इज द ब्रांड नेम. ओके, नाउ sectors and products. Okay, in which sectors do they have an exposure? The largest sector in which they cater is electrical insulation gases, in which the products in which products they are used in the circuit breakers and GIS manufacturing, जो इलेक्ट्रिकल्स में आता है ना, उनके लिए जो गैसेस लगते हैं, this company supplies. The 26% revenue comes from this side. The second one is room air conditioner, 23% revenue. The third is automobile, and the fourth स्टेशनरी इज नॉट पेन पेंसिल, वो होता है चिलर्स, वो आते हैं ना छोटे से एसीज होते हैं, देन कंट्रोल एयर कूलर्स होते हैं, उसके प्लांट्स होते हैं बहुत बड़े बड़े. 9.2% रेवेन्यू. तो मतलब इफ आई सम अप ऑलमोस्ट 70% रेवेन्यू कम्स फ्रॉम दिस 4, एंड देन आई विल टेल की अदर सेक्टर्स कौन से हैं. फॉर द फर्स्ट वन इज एरोसॉल्स. व्हाट इज एरोसॉल्स? दी sprays, propellants and pharmas में जो FDI लगता है, that. The one more is glass treatment. The third is फायर एक्सटिंग्विशर, देन फोम ब्लोइंग, पॉलिस्टीरीन एंड पॉलिस्टीरीन में काम होता है, देन कोल्ड चेन्स और वो सब होता है, देन रेफ्रिजरेटर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, एंड देन सेल ऑफ स्मॉल सिलेंडर्स, मतलब खाली सिलेंडर्स जो होते हैं ना वो भी बेचते हैं. और इसमें एक और चीज है कि सी द कंपनी हर जगह पे उन्होंने सेमीकंडक्टर बहुत लिखा है, बट इनका FY23 तक रेवेन्यू 0 था, बट FY24 में दे डिड अ रेवेन्यू 15 लाख रुपीज फ्रॉम द सेमीकंडक्टर. अभी किसे किया क्या किया मतलब वो ज्यादा नहीं पता है. So this company has 4 facilities. One is in Panvel, Maharashtra. Second is in Khalapur, Maharashtra. Third one is in Manesar, which is near Gurgaon, Haryana. And the fourth one is Giloth, Rajasthan. This is near Neemrana, जहाँ पे अभी ये रेफ्रिजरेंट्स और एयर कंडीशनिंग के अच्छे खासे हीट एक्सचेंजर्स के हो जाए, या फिर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के MNC कंपनीज के सेटअप्स आ रहे हैं, तो वहां पे भी इनका एक डीबल्किंग यूनिट है. The company is raising 199.4 crores, out of which 160.7 crores is the fresh issue and 38.7 crores is an OFS. In the fresh issue, 95 crores has been kept for working capital. The second objective is capex for setting up डीबल्किंग एंड हैंडलिंग फैसिलिटी. मतलब इनका जो खालापुर का है ना, उसको ये एक्सपांड कर रहे हैं फॉर सेमीकंडक्टर गैसेस. ओके, उसके लिए 29.2 करोड़ रखा इन्होंने. द थर्ड वन इज फंडिंग कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर फॉर रेफ्रिजरेंट्स डीबल्किंग एंड ब्लेंडिंग फैसिलिटी इन मंबाटू, आंध्र प्रदेश. अभी आपने देखा होगा कि एक आपने कुछ न्यूज सुने होंगे कि ये ईपैक रिलेटेड कंपनीज है, ईपैक ड्यूरेबल जैसी, जो वहां पे आंध्र प्रदेश में ये जो मंबाटू है ना, दिस इज आई गेस 20 किलोमीटर फ्रॉम श्री सिटी में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पे सभी कंपनीज बड़ा बड़ा कैपेक्स कर रही है, तो उसके पास ही अपना एक डीबल्किंग एंड ब्लेंडिंग फैसिलिटी लगा रहे हैं. आई विल कम टू इट्स फाइनेंशियल्स. FY23 the company did a top line of 225.5 crores and PAT was 9.8 crore. FY24 the revenue was 232 crores, 233 crores, मतलब roughly 4 to 5% growth, and PAT increased from 9.8 to 14.8 crores, and H1 में they did 140.7 crores and PAT is 16.6 crores. अभी अचानक से IPO से पहले मार्जिन बढ़ जाता है, like always, इसमें कोई नई बात नहीं है. Now you need to understand कि इनका प्राइम सीजन कौन सा होता है इनके बिजनेस का. द प्राइम सीजन इज फरवरी, मार्च, अप्रैल एंड मई. तो जो आप H1 में देख रहे हो, इट्स नॉट कि H2 बहुत ज्यादा हेवी आता है, ये बिजनेस में जनरली नहीं होता, बिकॉज आपका जो एसीज और वो जो सारा रेफ्रिजरेंट्स वो सब होता है, इनका अच्छा खासा सेल आपका यहाँ पे भी होता है आपका अप्रैल में और जून के फर्स्ट हाफ में। तो H1 ऑल्सो हैज अ गुड पीक सीजन, मतलब पकड़ के चलिए कि 60% 55% पीक सीजन इज इन H1 एंड रेस्ट इज इन H2। ओके, तो उसको इस तरीके से देखना है। तो H2 शुड बी वेरी हेवी, आई एम नॉट श्योर, मुझे नहीं लगता है बहुत ज्यादा कुछ रहेगा। द कंपनी इज कमिंग एट अ मार्केट कैप ऑफ 714 करोड़, FY24 पे 48.2 टाइम्स। बट अगर मैं FY25 का TTM में मतलब ट्रेलिंग 12 मंथ्स करूं, मतलब 16.6 इंटू 2 करूं, मतलब H1 इज 16.6, तो पूरे साल का 33.2 TTM बेसिस पे तो 21.5 टाइम्स पे आता है। ओके, अभी नाउ ये सब हो गई, अभी हो गई चीजें। अभी रिस्क पे आते हैं। रिस्क भी बहुत सारे इस कंपनीज में। फर्स्ट, 80% ऑफ कंपनीज स्केल इज इंपोर्टेड मटेरियल्स। ओके, उनका कंप्लीट रॉ मटेरियल इंपोर्टेड होता है और उसमें का 98% कम्स फ्रॉम चाइना। ओके, मतलब पूरा चाइना से है। एंड यहाँ पे अब मेजर रिस्क ये हो जाता है फोरेक्स का। आपने देखा होगा कि अभी जब से यूएस प्रेसिडेंसी का अभी चल रहा है, धीरे धीरे फ्रॉम लास्ट 15-20 days दी फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट्स हैव बीन एक्सट्रीमली वॉलेटाइल। और आपने देखा होगा कि दुनिया की बहुत बड़ी बड़ी करेंसीज भी 10-10, 15% डेप्रिसिएट हो चुकी है। इंडियन रुपी हैज आल्सो डिप्रिसिएटेड बाय रफली 4-5%। तो ये फोरेक्स का रिस्क एक्चुअली बहुत बड़ा है। आई वुड से कि बहुत बड़ा नहीं कहूंगा, बट एक सिग्निफिकेंट रिस्क है। एक और चीज है कि इनका जो लार्जेस्ट सप्लायर है, मतलब इनका जो भी चाइना से इंपोर्ट करते हैं, मेजरली एक ही सिंगल सप्लायर है, दैट इज जुजियांग सनमई करके। तो सनमई लिमिटेड करके एक लिस्टेड कंपनी है, एक केमिकल इंडस्ट्री का वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट प्लेयर है चाइना का। इनके साथ इनका एक लिटिगेशन हुआ था 9.5 करोड़ का। ओके, मतलब दिस इज देयर लार्जेस्ट सप्लायर। मतलब समझ के देख के चलिए कि अगर 100 रुपए का कंपनी का रेवेन्यू है, तो उसमें से 85 इज रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट, और उस 85 में से 83.5 चाइना से आ रहा है, और वो 83.3 में से समझ के चलिए कि 75 to 80 सिंगल सप्लायर से आ रहा है। ओके, उनके साथ इनका लिटिगेशन है, 9.5 करोड़ का क्लेम है। इसका एक रीजन बताया, डिले इन कंटेनर रिटर्न एंड डिसएग्रीमेंट ऑन कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशंस। मतलब कुछ तो स्टैलियन की तरफ से कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशंस में कुछ तो डिलेज हुए इन रिटर्निंग द कंटेनर्स, या फिर कुछ अलग चीजें हो गई है। तीसरा चीज जो मुझे पर्सनली लगा कि एक पसंद नहीं है मुझे, तो कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ देयर एग्जिस्टिंग प्लांट्स। खालापुर महाराष्ट्र इज एट 52%, घिलोत राजस्थान इज जस्ट एट 15 to 18%, जो एक टाइम पे पिछले साल 25% हुआ था FY23। मानेसर गुड़गांव के पास का जो फैसिलिटी है, दैट इज रनिंग जस्ट एट 20% यूटिलाइजेशन, जो एक टाइम पे 47% हुआ करता था। और पनवेल इज एट 20-25%। मतलब ये कंपनी यहां से डबल का रेवेन्यू भी कर सकती है इनके एग्जिस्टिंग यूनिट से ही। आई एम नॉट सेइंग डबल कर देगी, बट इनके पास इतना पोटेंशियल है। बट स्टिल दे वांट टू सेट अप अ न्यू फैसिलिटी इन आंध्र प्रदेश, श्री सिटी ऑफ वन व्हील से, कि यार वहां पे स्ट्रेटेजिक लोकेशन है, वो सब ठीक है। बट द कंपनी इजंट वेरी ऑपरेशनली एफिशिएंट, की या फिर बहुत ज्यादा इनको बिजनेस आई गेस नहीं आ रहा है, इसलिए इनका यूटिलाइजेशन नहीं हो रहा। बिकॉज सी, इनका गिलोत राजस्थान का देखे तो वहां पर बहुत हेवी डिमांड है इन चीजों की। एंड इवन एट मनेसर, वो भी एक हॉट प्लेस है, तो वहां पे भी इफ दे आर जस्ट यूटिलाइजिंग 15-20%, दैट इज एक्चुअली अ सिग्निफिकेंट नेगेटिव पॉइंट। और एक चीज है कि ये आईपीओ से जो वर्किंग कैपिटल रेस कर रहे हैं, ओके, इससे इन्होंने FY26 का ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्ट करा है 60 to 70% बेस्ड ऑन द RHP नंबर्स। ओके, वर्किंग कैपिटल का नंबर, कोई मैनेजमेंट की तरफ से कोई भी गाइडेंस वगैरह नहीं है, ये उनके नंबर्स के हिसाब से प्रोजेक्टेड है। बट एक चीज देखिए कि पिछले 5 साल में दिस कंपनी हैजंट शोन बेटर ग्रोथ, मतलब इनका हायर साइड पे 15% ग्रोथ होता है। तो आउट ऑफ नोवेयर दे आर सेइंग वी विल डू 60-70%। और एक चीज ये भी है कि आप 90 करोड़ यू आर कितना है इनका केपेक्स का, आई गेस 95 करोड़ है। तो सॉरी, वर्किंग कैपिटल का, तो वर्किंग कैपिटल आप अगर 60-70% ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हो, मतलब वो होता है रफली आप पकड़ के चलिए 350-400 करोड़ टॉप लाइन। आप उसमें से 95 करोड़ आईपीओ मनी से रेस कर रहे हो। मतलब इसके दो ही चीजें हुई कि ये कंपनी वर्किंग कैपिटल इंटेंसिव है, दूसरा इनको बैंक डेट नहीं मिल रहा है एट गुड रेट्स, सो दे आर कमिंग एट आईपीओ मार्केट। बिकॉज जनरली इस तरह की कंपनीज आईपीओ नहीं करती है, बट दे आर डूइंग, मतलब इसके दो चीजें, एक अच्छा साइड ये भी है कि कंपनी हैज अ गुड पोटेंशियल फॉर ग्रोथ बट दे डिडंट हैड कैपिटल, सो वो ग्रोथ नहीं कर पाए, शायद अब कैपिटल है तो ग्रोथ कर पाएंगे। मतलब दोनों, जिसने जैसा सोचा उसकी तरह फिर वो उसका माइंडसेट है। और एक सबसे बड़ा निगेटिव जो मुझे इस कंपनी में लगा, जो आई फील की मैनेजमेंट शुड हैव क्लैरिफाइड इन द पीएनएल, यू जस्ट चेकआउट कि इनका एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट एक्सपेंसेस कितना है, मतलब सैलरीज, वेजेस, ये जो होता है आप वर्कर्स को पे करते हो, तो ये कितना है। इट्स जस्ट 1.9 करोड़ इन FY24, मतलब 1.9 करोड़ की आप सैलरीज में पूरा बिजनेस चला रहे हो। और इसमें से भी आप समझ के चलिए कि 30 लाख रुपए सिर्फ ये ग्रेचुइटी, ईपीएफओस, पेंशन फंड, पेंशन होता है, फिर वो सारा प्रोविडेंट फंड होता है, उसी के लिए रखा है। मतलब टेक्निकली सिर्फ 1.6 करोड़ का सैलरीज और वेजेस दिया कंपनी ने FY24 में। अभी H1 में 84 लाख से, ओके, 84 लाख रुपीज का सैलरी दिया, मतलब 6 महीना में सिर्फ 84 लाख का सैलरी। आजकल के जमाने में ऐसी कंपनीज में एक अकेला एम्प्लॉय साल का 84 लाख लेके जाता है, तो 84 लाख में पूरी कंपनी चला रही है 6 महीने में, ओके। तो इनके पेरोल पे सिर्फ 20 एम्प्लॉयज है, जस्ट 20 एम्प्लॉयज। मुझे नहीं समझ में आया कि 20 एम्प्लॉयज में आप 4 फैसिलिटीज चला रहे हो, वो भी गैस, ये रेफ्रिजरेंट ब्लेंडिंग का, जो जिसमें फ्रेट कॉस्ट एक बहुत हेवी होता है। आप समझिए कि चाइना से बड़े बड़े कंटेनर्स आ गए, वो आपको फ्रेट के थ्रू उतारने हैं, फिर उसको आप बल्क फैसिलिटी में डालना है, आपको स्टोरेज कंटेनर्स, डीबल्किंग, ब्लेंडिंग, पैकेजिंग, ये सब है। तो 20 एम्प्लॉयज में पूरी कंपनी कैसे चल सकती है। और इन्होंने लिखा है, ओके, प्रॉपर आरएचपी में लिखा हुआ है, कैन शेयर द स्क्रीनशॉट्स, कोई मेरे मन की बात नहीं है। इसका इन्होंने ब्रेकअप दिया है कि प्रोडक्शन में वी हैव 7 एम्प्लॉयज, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल में वी हैव 2 एम्प्लॉयज, प्रोक्योरमेंट 2 एम्प्लॉयज, इंपोर्ट्स 2 एम्प्लॉयज, लीगल 1 एम्प्लॉय, सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग 3 एम्प्लॉयज एंड फाइनेंस 3 एम्प्लॉयज। मतलब 7 एम्प्लॉय में 4 फैसिलिटी चला रहे हैं। मतलब यार मेरा तो रिएक्शन इधर रहेगा कि सर मुझे आप बता दो बिजनेस, मैं खुद कर लेता हूं, मैं सब छोड़ देता हूं, 7 एम्प्लॉय में मुझे भी सेट करके दो ये फैसिलिटी। तो अभी इन्होंने एक जगह, और एक और चीज है कि वर्कर्स इन्होंने और रखे हैं। तो पहली बात तो इनके पेरोल पे सिर्फ 20 एम्प्लॉयज है, ओके, बट इन्होंने वर्कर्स रखे एट कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल बेसिस। तो खालापुर में 21 वर्कर्स रखे हैं, पनवेल में 11, गिलोतर मनेसर में 4 वर्कर्स रखे हैं। तो थोड़ा सा दिमाग के बाहर है कि इतने कम एम्प्लॉयज में ऐसी इतनी बड़ी कंपनी कैसे चल सकती है। और मतलब इन्होंने एक चीज आरएसपी में ये लिखा था कि आर बिजनेस इज, उनको वर्कर्स कम लगते हैं बिकॉज मेच्योरिटी इट्स मशीनरी एंड ऑटोमेशन बेस्ड बिजनेस। बट नाउ जस्ट थिंक कि चाइना से एक बड़े कंटेनर्स में आपका मॉलिक्यूल्स गैसेस जो है वो इंपोर्ट हो रहा है, आई गेस इट वुड श्योरली इन लिक्विड फॉर्म ओनली। आप वो हैंडल कर रहे हो, निकाल रहे हो, आपके फैसिलिटी में डाल रहे हो, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल कर रहे हो, स्टोर कर रहे हो, उसके बाद डिबल्किंग कर रहे हो, 2-3 अलग अलग मॉलिक्यूल्स का ब्लेंडिंग कर रहे हो, फिर आप फिर से क्वालिटी कंट्रोल कर रहे हो, आप कंटेनर्स में फिलअप कर रहे हो, उसको पैकेजिंग दे रहे हो, फिर सेल कर रहे हो, मार्केटिंग एजेंसी, उसमें भी आपका फ्रेट आता है उसके बाद ट्रांसपोर्ट के लिए। तो ये सारी चीजें इतने कम एम्प्लॉयज में इट्स इम्पॉसिबल, ओके, ये एक चीज है। अभी अगला रिस्क है कि this company's good revenue, portion of revenue comes from HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, and government has been against this because आपको पता होगा जो ACs में जो emittances होता है that is HFCs and that's very harmful, वो ओजोन लेयर को डायरेक्टली ब्रेक करता है। तो ऑल ओवर ग्लोबली HFCs का वो कहते हैं ना उसका यूसेज बहुत कम होना चाहिए, ऐसे नॉर्म्स निकल रहे, इंडिया में अभी तक नहीं आए, बट गवर्नमेंट इज पुशिंग, बट आई एम डैम श्योर कि अगले 2-3 साल में बहुत बड़ा नॉर्म आ जाएगा उसके रिलेटेड। बट एक और चीज, ये कंपनी के पास हेज भी है कि ये जो नया मंबाटू में फैसिलिटी लगा रहे हैं आंध्र प्रदेश में, उसके अंदर ये हाइड्रोफ्लोरो ओलेफिन्स करके HFOs करके एक सेगमेंट आता है विच इज बेटर देन HFCs, तो उसका सेटअप कर रहे हैं, उस तरह की मशीनरीज ला रहे हैं, तो इनका फ्यूचर में हेज हो जाता है ये। और एक अच्छी बात ये कंपनी में है कि हनीवेल ऑटोमेशन विच इज वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट, सेकंड लार्जेस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल गैसेस कंपनी, इनके साथ इनका डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का एग्रीमेंट है फॉर सप्लाई ऑफ HFC रेफ्रिजरेंट्स, ओके। तो बट इसका एक और छोटा रिस्क है कि इनका दिसंबर 2025 में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खत्म हो रहा है, उसके बाद वो रिन्यू होगा कि नहीं यू डोंट नो। वो अगर इनका भी अच्छा खासा 15-20% रेवेन्यू है साल का, वो इसी एक सिंगल एग्रीमेंट में से आता है। सो ओवरऑल एज ए प्रमोटर आई हर्ड मिस्टर रुस्तम जी, अच्छे मतलब इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट है श्योरली, बट हाँ अच्छे मतलब ऐसा कोई दिक्कत नहीं प्रमोटर लेवल पे, बट it's like he is the face of the company. If anything happens to him, there is no person who can, what we can say, justify his work. तो he is the face of the company and he is the company itself, जो मुझे देख के लगा. अभी ओवरऑल मैं अगर देखूं तो आई फील कि ये जो सेगमेंट है बेसिकली इन्होंने पीयर्स दिखा, एसआरएफ हो गया, गुजरात फ्लोरोकेमिकल्स दिखा दिया, नवीन फ्लोरिन दिखा दिया. सी व्हाट आर दीज कंपनीज? दीज आर मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ऑफ केमिकल मॉलिक्यूल्स. ओके, तो एक दो तीन चार मॉलिक्यूल्स पे काम करते हैं और इसका दे आर लीडर्स एंड जायंट्स इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. दिस इज बेसिकली अ ट्रेडिंग कंपनी विथ स्मॉल वैल्यू एडिशन. और एक छोटी सी चीज कंपनी में ये भी है कि इन्होंने ऑब्जेक्ट्स ऑफ द इशू में ऐसा दिखाया है कि केपेक्स के टाइम पे कि वी विल बी स्पेंडिंग 15 करोड़ आउट ऑफ जो 25 करोड़ से केपेक्स दिखाया है, उसे 15 करोड़ प्लांट एंड मशीनरी में हम स्पेंड करेंगे. अभी अगर आप इनका बैलेंस शीट देखो तो इनका आज तक का सिर्फ 11 करोड़ का प्लांट एंड मशीनरी है, 4 फैसिलिटीज का मिलाकर. अब ये क्या नया कर रहे हैं कि सीधा 15 करोड़ इनको लग रहा है प्लांट एंड मशीनरी, मतलब 11 करोड़ में आप 4 फैसिलिटीज चला रहे हो, प्लांट एंड मशीनरी का बैलेंस शीट पे लिखा हुआ है, और 15 करोड़ नए मांग रहे हो. वो भी मतलब अलग सेगमेंट है, अपने को नहीं पता. तो मतलब ये ना यार थोड़ा सा. और एक चीज में ये भी है कि दिस कंपनी वाज स्टार्टेड एज अ पार्टनरशिप में सॉरी सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप. फिर 2023 के अक्टूबर में इसका टेक ओवर हुआ था बाय अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी. तो ये बिजनेसेस मर्ज हो गए, इसलिए H1 में प्रॉफिट्स भी थोड़ा सा ज्यादा दिख रहा है. बट व्हेन आई रेड कि मुझे लगा कि जो कंपनी आ रहा है दैट कैन बी मार्केटिंग स्ट्रक्चर, और जो कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर है वो बाद में अटैच हुआ. मतलब इसका मतलब क्या कि एम्प्लॉयज उसमें थे. दिस वाज जस्ट एन एंटिटी मेड फॉर न्यू बिजनेसेस. देन आई थॉट कि साले अभी तो आ जाएगा मतलब एम्प्लॉइज, बट अक्टूबर 23 में तो H1 है, वो ब्लेंड वो कंबाइंड एंटिटीज का ही है. उसमें भी एक्चुअली कम हुआ है एक्सपेंसेस इनका, मतलब वहां से भी और कम हो गए जितना एक्सपेक्टेड था. आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग कि 1.5 करोड़ का एटलीस्ट 3-4-5 करोड़ तो हो ही जाएगा, तो और 85 लाख पे हो गया. तो थोड़ा समझ नहीं रहा है. और उनका कैश फ्लो में भी है यार, कैश फ्लोज भी मतलब इनके ठीक है, इतने भी अच्छे नहीं है, बट बिजनेस इजंट एबल टू जनरेट कैश. मतलब 10, 15, 20 करोड़ 25 करोड़ का कैश जनरेट कर रहे हैं पर ईयर, विच इज आई फील नॉट इनफ एज पर द बिजनेस जो ये दिखा रहे हैं. अभी इसमें इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट बन जाता है सेमीकंडक्टर वाला एंगल, बिकॉज सी अभी आपको एक कंपनी पता होगी, दिस इज फ्रॉम दी आइनॉक्स ग्रुप. आइनॉक्स इंडिया जो लिस्टेड है उनकी ग्रुप कंपनी है, विच इज इंडियाज लार्जेस्ट कंपनी इन इट सेगमेंट, आइनॉक्स एयर प्रोडक्ट्स करके. दे आर डूइंग 4,000 करोड़ केपेक्स इन दिस इंडस्ट्रियल गैसेस फॉर सेमीकंडक्टर एंड स्पेशलिटी गैसेस. दे आर डूइंग आई गेस 54 मॉलिक्यूल्स में वो कर रहे हैं. वो एक्चुअली ब्लेंडिंग का बिजनेस है, सिंगल मॉलिक्यूल से आप वो गैसेस नहीं बना सकते हो. बट दिस कंपनी इज ऑल्सो आई गेस 11-12 मॉलिक्यूल्स पे काम करने वाले हैं ब्लेंडिंग करके. सो लिस्टेड स्पेस में पहला प्ले होगा जो सेमीकंडक्टर गैसेस पे काम करेगा. यस, गुजरात फ्लोरोकेमिकल्स इज ऑल्सो वर्किंग ऑन इट, बट वो उनकी एक दूसरी एंटिटी है जो अनलिस्टेड है, उसमें केपेक्स कर रहे हैं. सो यू कैन नॉट से कि द लिस्टेड जीएफएल इज डूइंग दैट. वो पूरे ग्रुप का नाम भी जीएफएल है और लिस्टेड कंपनी का नाम भी जीएफएल है, बट वो ग्रुप के अंदर एक एंटिटी है. तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट कंपनी जिसमें वो सेमिकॉन वाला एंगल है. बट यार 20 एम्प्लॉय में सेमिकॉन कैसे चलेगा, आई डोंट नो. तो मेरा इसमें व्यू बहुत सिंपल है. लिस्टिंग गेन के लिए इसको लगा देना है. आई फील इसमें डिसेंट सा लिस्टिंग गेन बन जाएगा. 20, 30, 40, इवन 60% इज पॉसिबल, बिकॉज मतलब ट्रेडिंग कंपनी है, वैल्यू एडिशन है, बट बताए ना ये पुरानी कंपनी थोड़ी सी, और इसका नाम है स्टैलियन, ठीक ठाक है. तो लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए वी नीड टू वेट टू हैव अ बेटर क्लैरिटी, बिकॉज यार मतलब 20 एम्प्लॉइज पे चल रही कंपनी, मुझे यही बात नहीं पच रही है. और ओवरऑल भी ठीक है मतलब, और इनको फाइनेंस रिलेटेड लोग चाहिए, बिकॉज थोड़ा सा एफिशिएंसीज कम है बिजनेस में, वो लेवल का नहीं लेवरेज आ पा रहा है इनका. सो लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए एज ऑफ नाउ आई एम नॉट मच इंटरेस्टेड. यस, वो सेमिकॉन के नाम पे वो अगर मार्केट उसको चला दे तो आई डोंट नो, बट आई फील मार्केट्स आर एट दिस पॉइंट एटलीस्ट सम रैशनल थिंकिंग है कि आप 20 एम्प्लॉय में आप सेमिकॉन का ये नहीं कर सकते, और वो भी बहुत 1.5-2 साल बाद वो बनेगी. तो थोड़ा सा लिस्टिंग इन के लिए आई एम ऑल्सो गोइंग टू अप्लाई, बट फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म अ बिट कॉशियस. और एक चीज है कि दिस प्रमोटर हैजंट गिवन इंटरव्यूज इन एनी बिजनेस चैनल्स. उन्होंने एक इंटरव्यू किया था किरण एडवाइजर्स का, दैट वाज द आईपीओ रोड शो जो उनको करना ही पड़ेगा. और दूसरा मिस्टर अविनाश गोरक्षकर को उनको उन्होंने इंटरव्यू दिया है, जो जनरली कवर्स द एसएमई कंपनीज, बट किसी भी फ्रंटलाइन चैनल को इन्होंने इंटरव्यू नहीं दिया है. सो ओवरऑल ये है, ठीक कंपनी है, बट कंसर्न्स तो है अच्छे खासे, तो वी नीड टू स्टे कॉशियस, बट लिस्टिंग एंड बन जाएगा.
Got it. Thanks, Tanmay. Very detailed and long review. Just one question from my end before we move forward in the interest of time to next question, which is a two-parted question. One is, जब इनका ये हनीवेल का HFO का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खत्म होगा दिसंबर में, that's when I read a comment which says that Honeywell has patents on manufacturing which will expire this year. तो उसके बाद SRF के पास टेक है वो करने का, तो वो खुद ही कर लेंगे, so they'll be able to do it cheaper and they already have the pilot plant ready. So that will help. That is the whole story. So anything on that? And second question, anything on the anchors? If you could clarify, then we'll move.
हाँ सर, योर फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज एक्चुअली वेरी वैलिड एंड आई शुड हैव इंक्लूडेड दैट कि उनका वो पेटेंट एक्चुअली मैंने पढ़ा है. आई एम नॉट वेरी टेक्निकल पर्सन इन दिस इंडस्ट्री, बट मैंने भी वो चीज पढ़ी है, थोड़े हफ्ते पहले पढ़ी है. एंड यस, द पॉइंट इज वेरी वैलिड कि द पेटेंट इज गेटिंग एक्सपायर्ड एंड SRF विल मेक इट एट चीपर कॉस्ट. बट द थिंग इज यार, जो हनीवेल का प्रोडक्ट लेता है ना, हनीवेल हैज अ नेम ग्लोबली, तो वो नाम पे चलता है. बट द थिंग इज कि हनीवेल से दे जस्ट इंपोर्ट द मॉलिक्यूल्स और वो रीब्रांड करके आई गेस स्टेलियन ब्रांड से बेचते हैं. अभी इसका ना RHP सर थोड़ा सा अनप्रोफेशनल था, मतलब आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि मतलब 350 पेजेस में इनका पूरा RHP खत्म हो जाता है, उसमें भी बहुत सारे पेजेस तो ब्लैंक ही है इनके. RHP इन्होंने खास बनाई नहीं है, मतलब वो मेन बोर्ड की RHP है ही नहीं, SME की RHP है वो, तो उसमें ये डिटेल्स दिए ही नहीं है कि आप हनीवेल का जो आपका वो जो एक्सक्लूसिव एग्रीमेंट है उसमें आप खुद के नाम से बेचते हो या फिर हनीवेल के नाम से बेचते हो. बट जो मुझे समझा स्टेलियन के नाम से ही बेचते हैं, सिर्फ वो जो मॉलिक्यूल है वो सिर्फ इंपोर्ट करते हैं. यह पहला पॉइंट. और दूसरा पॉइंट सर, एंकर वॉज एक्चुअली वेरी पुअर, फ्रीली अवेलेबल था, मतलब जिसको चाहे एंकर मिल रहा था उसके अंदर, तो एंकर के लेवल पे ज्यादा डिमांड नहीं था.
Got it. So that is our review with respect to Stallion Fluorochemicals, Stallion India Fluorochemicals. With that, we'll move forward to the next company. The next company we'll talk about is EMA Partners. The company is an executive search firm offering specialized hiring solutions, and the India company, EMA Partners India, oversees the company and its subsidiaries in India, Singapore, and Dubai, specializing in C-suite and board level hiring. Just setting up the IPO, it's a 76 crore IPO, so decent size IPO. Out of it, 66 crores is a fresh issue, 10 crore ka OFS hai, promoters are taking an exit. The company is coming at a market cap of 288 crores. 288 crores पे ये 76 crores dilute कर रहे हैं, so the pair minimum 26%, something like that. In terms of the financials, FY24 financials, company did 70 crores of top line and 14 crores of bottom line, so it's coming at like 20 PE FY24. In terms of the LM is Indo-Orient Financial Services. So with that, Yash, do you want to go ahead and talk about EMA Partners?
Sure. So EMA Partners India Limited is a leading executive search firm providing customized leadership hiring solutions to the clients across diverse sectors. They have recruited various business and functional leaders for both domestic and international clients. From India, 90% of the business they are doing, and the rest, 70% of the business they are doing from India, and the rest 30% is they are doing from subsidiaries in Dubai and Singapore. So along with their subsidiaries, they cover wide spectrum of white collar hiring, especially from senior leadership, C-suite, board level positions, and they are now entering into the entry level and mid tier. So they have three distinct practice areas. The first one, through EMA Partners, they focus on C-suite, board level positions in India, Middle East, and Singapore. Then there is James Douglas, which specializes in mid to senior level positions. Then there is Recloud, which handles entry-level and mid-level management hiring through an integrated technology platform. So the business model of the company is कि जो EMI partners होता है उसमें they pay a retainer fee. Then the fee is typically a percentage of the candidate's annual compensation or a fixed fee agreed on upon the client. But mostly it is candidate's annual compensation का 30 to 33%, which is paid in equal installment, 1/3. सबसे पहले देते हैं जब एंगेजमेंट स्टार्ट होता है, देन द रेस्ट ऑफ 1/3 इज पेड व्हेन द शॉर्टलिस्टेड इज डन, देन द लास्ट ट्रांच ऑफ payment is done when the candidate onboards or the post 90 days when he onboards. तो सिमिलरली इनके तीनों जो सेगमेंट्स हैं, EMA पार्टनर्स, जेम डगलस एंड रिक्लाउड, उन सब में सिमिलर टाइप ऑफ फी स्ट्रक्चर्स है. FY24 की अगर मैं बात करूं तो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ रेवेन्यू केम फ्रॉम EMA पार्टनर्स, जो कि बोर्ड लेवल हायरिंग, CXOs -1 उस लेवल पे हायर करते हैं. 58 करोड़ was the top line from them. जो ग्रोथ स्ट्रैटेजी कंपनी प्लान कर रही है, दे आर फोकसिंग ऑन two legs. The one is from expanding through organic growth and acquisitions. The other one is growth in technology and digital market recruitment. तो अभी इन्होंने EMA पार्टनर्स ने आइडेंटिफाई करा है अपना की मार्केट्स आफ्टर रिसर्चिंग. सो नाउ दे आर फोकसिंग मोर ऑन US, UK एंड सऊदी अरेबिया फॉर मोर ग्रोथ एंड एक्सपेंशन, जिसमें दे आर कमिंग विद ऑर्गेनिक एक्सपेंशन, अपना इंटरनल लीडरशिप हायरिंग कर रहे हैं ये लोग, जिससे जो सेक्टर्स में इनके पास फोकस या फिर जो एक्सपर्टीज नहीं है उस पे ये लोग हायरिंग कर सकते हैं एंड सॉलिड कर सके अपनी पोजीशन उस लेवल ऑफ इंडस्ट्री में. देन जो इनका कंपनी है, एक सब्सिडरी है, द कंपनी ओन्स 76% इन रिक्लाउड टेक्नोलॉजीज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. वो एक इंटीग्रेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म है जिसमें वो लोग स्केलेबल रिक्रूटमेंट सॉल्यूशंस प्रोवाइड करते हैं. तो इसमें क्या होता है कि ये लोग AI AML की तरफ से ऑटोमेट कर रखा है इन्होंने पूरा प्रोसेस, जिसमें ATS वगैरह, रिज्यूमे शॉर्टलिस्टिंग वगैरह पूरा होता है. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ द इशू, तो कंपनी को जो नेट प्रोसीड्स हैं वो यूज करने हैं टू हायर द लीडरशिप टीम. ऑलमोस्ट 25 करोड़ का एक्सपेंस करेंगे ये लोग लीडरशिप टीम को हायर करने में. देन देयर इज IT इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इनको अपग्रेड करना है अपना सॉफ्टवेयर एंड हार्डवेयर, तो उसमें 14 करोड़ करेंगे. द रेस्ट ऑफ इट, सम ऑफ इट इज 9 करोड़ का जनरल कॉर्पोरेट पर्पस. Then 6 crores is strategic acquisition and they are paying off debt as well. 5 crores का debt they pay कर रहे हैं वो लोग. In terms of financials, financials are looking super solid to me. Very clean balance sheet even after paying the debt. Almost 7 crores का debt है balance sheet पे बस, जिसमें से मोटा मोटी 5 crores दिल पे वो भी secured था against the property. Majority of the trade receivables which I see in the balance sheet is within the less than 6 months category. तो कलेक्शन पीरियड इनका अच्छा है एंड दैट इज ऑल्सो मैचिंग द कलेक्शन पीरियड जो इनका 4 मंथ रहा है. 91 डेज का कलेक्शन पीरियड है. इन टर्म्स ऑफ लीडरशिप हायर्स, जो ये 25 करोड़ एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहे हैं, इट इज इन 2 ट्रांचेस. FY26 में दे विल डू 12.2 करोड़. तो इसमें ये भी हमें ध्यान रखना है कि ये जो एक्सपेंडिचर करके ये लोग नया लीडरशिप हायर कर रहे हैं, इसमें ये चीज भी है कि नोटिस पीरियड भी होता है. सपोज किसी सीनियर लेवल पे नोटिस पीरियड है 2-3 महीने का, तो उसको ध्यान में रखे. FY26 तो ऑलमोस्ट लगेगा ही इन्हें करने में. तो 2 ट्रांचेस में हो रहा है, 12 करोड़ का FY26 में, 10 करोड़ का FY27 में. In terms of how many people they hire, they almost hire 100 to 130 people in a year. जो इसमें मार्जिन इनके अच्छे रहते हैं क्योंकि 30% का ऑलमोस्ट ये चार्ज करते हैं फी ऑन एनुअल कॉम्पेंसेशन. Up they are now trying to enter mid-level as well, which will be more volume than the top tier board hires, and उसमें भी मार्जिन सेम रहने वाला है. तो इनका ऐसा नहीं है कि इसको हमें प्रॉपर ऐसे एज अ स्टाफिंग फर्म नहीं देखना है. दिस प्रॉपर एग्जीक्यूटिव रिसर्च फर्म जिसको स्पेशली मैंडेट्स दिए जाते हैं थ्रू देयर क्लाइंट्स, तो वो तभी काम करते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि इनको मैंडेट दे रखा है एंड देयर इज अनदर कंपनी जो उसमें काम कर रहा है. मतलब दे डोंट पोस्ट द कंपनी, द क्लाइंट्स ऑफ दिस कंपनी डोंट पोस्ट एनीवेयर कि हम ये हायर कर रहे हैं एंड विच एवर हायर्स उनको फी मिलेगा. वो स्पेसिफिकली मैंडेट्स देते हैं एंड देन दे कंटिन्यू देयर जॉब. एवरेज रिटेंशन पीरियड फॉर द कंपनी इज 6 months. उसमें 6 months का दे प्रोवाइड की जो बंदा हायर करा है, दे डोंट लीव एंड रन अवे समवेयर एल्स टू अ डिफरेंट फर्म. तो ओवरऑल द कंपनी लुक्स वेरी गुड टू मी. MNC बिजनेस है. देयर इज नॉट एनी लिस्टेड पेयर विच आई कैन थिंक ऑफ जिससे मैं इनका कंपैरिजन कर सकूं. RHP में जो 2 कंपनीज दे रखी हैं, क्वेस्टकॉप एंड टीमलीज, आर द बिजनेसेस which are more of a staffing businesses. बहुत कम thin margin में काम करते हैं, but more of a high volume business. And these guys are research, executive research, especially focusing on very low volume and higher margin profiles, क्योंकि पूरा compensation का वो fee structure वैसा है. One very interesting thing in the list of the capital structure was the Polycup family has put in some stake in the business at rupees 99. तो वो भी एक इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट है इसका. द रेस्ट आई थिंक द बिजनेस इज सुपर सॉलिड एंड काफी अच्छा कंपाउंडर रह सकता है. दीज काइंड ऑफ बिजनेसेस आर नॉट वेरी हाई ग्रोथ बिकॉज थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे भी रहता है बिजनेस, डिपेंडिंग ऑन की जो इनके क्लाइंट्स हैं वो कैसा मार्केट फेस कर रहे हैं. तो इनके clients almost 30% is industrial and manufacturing, then the rest is 19% almost financial services, 14% in information technology. तो I think काफी diverse इनका revenue distribution है by industry, and even the concentration is not much, 8-9% का concentration लेके चल रहे हैं ये लोग. So I think this business is very good for me. And Quest Corp is valued at 31 ka price to earnings. TeamLease is valued at 46 ka price to earnings, which is, to me, looks very expensive because बहुत thin margin hai, and this business is coming at a price to earnings of almost 20-21 post issue, which is very encouraging. तो और इसमें ये भी है कि market cap is almost 300 crores. So a very good run business, a MNC company getting at 300 crores market cap, which has been a decent compounder and will be a decent compounder, is a very good plus point to make positions for a long term portfolio. प्लस इसका जो बिजनेस मॉडल है वो ऐसा है कि एटलीस्ट उन दो जो कंपनी से क्वेस्ट कॉप एंड टीमलीज से तो हायर प्राइस टू अर्निंग्स मिलना ही चाहिए. तो आई विल नॉट बी शॉक्ड कि अगर ये टीटीएम पे ही 50 का प्राइस टू अर्निंग्स पे आके बैठ जाए. एंड FY25 की अगर प्रोजेक्शंस की बात करूं मैं, बाय लुकिंग एट देयर एम्प्लॉय एक्सपेंसेस एंड द वर्किंग कैपिटल साइकिल प्लस द मैनेजमेंट इंटरव्यू, तो आई थिंक दे आर इजीली poised to do 100 crores in FY25 and not less than 130-135 crores in FY26. So I think there is a decent upside as well. So overall, very good business. I think this should be applied and held for long term.
Thanks, Yash. Yeah, I also felt similar. Just one thing which I want to highlight. Polycab family got it at 104, I think, 99 plus 5 rupees.
Five rupees fair value, yeah.
Yeah, and Neogen also got in at the same time.
Yes,
So that
correct.
triggers me to the next question in terms of the anchor. I saw a mutual fund anchor in it for the first time. So do you want to go ahead and talk about who are the anchors in this company?
Manish didn't look at the anchors.
Okay, no worries.
The business itself was so exciting for me.
No, yeah, so Neogen is there in the anchor. Then White Oak Capital has taken like 35% of the 35% of the anchor book. So the anchors definitely seem pretty interesting, and this was the first company where I saw a mutual fund taking a stake. So which was also interesting for me. And then I was also reading about the company. I pretty much liked their model. It's a very, like, it's not a like mass, like it's not a volume business. It's a very small business. Like they'll do like 120, 130 executive searches in a year and make most of their money through that. So it's a very good niche business, will always trade. Just want to highlight one thing with respect to, like, it's like EMA Partners Global is not a company of which it's a subsidiary. EMA Partners is a collaboration of different people who have opened their own EMA Partner specific chapters in their country. So think of it like a Star Alliance in like Air India is a part of Star Alliance, United Airlines is a part of Star Alliance, Air Canada is a part of Star Alliance. Similarly, EMA partners of different countries have formed their chapter and they collectively manage EMA partners and just manage transfer की किसी को वहां से कोई रिज्यूमे चाहिए तो यहाँ दे देंगे वगैरह, but and collectively just manage expenses. So they don't have to pay any royalty or anything like that कि ग्लोबल कंपनी है जैसे Hyundai कोरिया में तो उसको रॉयल्टी देनी है उसका नाम यूज करने के लिए. EMA Partners is a collaboration of different companies in their different chapters working together per se. And I think accounting companies also work like that. That at least that's what the CEO said. Like EY also SE hai. I'm not 100% sure. I know about airlines for sure per se. So that is the structure. In terms of like this is a very good well-run business which you are getting should not be compared with the staffing business जो कि दो listed हैं. Those are staffing place कि उनको क्या किसी को लोग चाहिए होते हैं तो ये कंपनी परमानेंट नहीं चाहिए होते, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेसिस पे चाहिए तो ये कंपनी अपने जो वो टीम लीज वगैरह वो अपने पेरोल पे हायर करके आगे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे दे देती है और बीच का थोड़ा सा मार्जिन खा लेती है. दिस इज मोर ऑफ अ स्टाफिंग बिजनेस. आई फील लाइक दिस शुड गेट वेरी रिचली वैल्यूड. पीस का अच्छा होगा बट ग्रोथ उतना प्रोबेबली शायद सस्टेन नहीं कर पाए बिकॉज इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू ग्रो राइट दीज बिजनेसेस. सो like figure out where it stops. Like if it's going too high, the P becomes crazy, which can then just get out. Is what my thought process would be. But yeah, Rohit, Tanmay, you guys have anything to add?
Plus Manish, what I think is इनका जो inflection point can come through the software that they're making, Recloud Technologies. क्योंकि इससे स्केलेबिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है. अ कंपनी कैन नॉट पे मच. सपोज कोई भी नॉर्मल कंपनी है, उसे अपना लीडरशिप हायर करना है, तो दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू पे मच टू दीज कंपनीज, क्योंकि इनका तो टॉप टियर एमएनसीज वगैरह में ज्यादा काम आता है. बट दे कैन बाय द सॉफ्टवेयर एटीएस वगैरह, एंड काफी ज्यादा ऑटोमेट हो सकता है वो प्रोसेस, इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि किसी कंपनी बहुत छोटी है, प्लस उनको बहुत ज्यादा हायरिंग करना है, तो दैट सॉफ्टवेयर कैन बी यूज टू ऑटोमेट द प्रोसेस, गेट मच फास्टर ऑन बोर्ड मच फास्टर कैंडिडेट्स इन देयर फर्म. तो आई थिंक दैट कुड बी अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पॉइंट कि स्केलेबिलिटी इनका वो सॉफ्टवेयर काफी बढ़ा सकता है.
I feel बहुत सारी कंपनियां, that's more of a startup play जहाँ पे बहुत सारे startup are trying to do that. So that's slightly like I would kind of say that it's a aspirational goal to reach. I am not 100%. If it reaches, then it's a different orbit altogether. But at least on prima facie, even with what they do, they are very good in terms of like the price at which you are getting per se. I know Tanmay, you have been wanting to make few points. Over to you.
सर मतलब I'll just tell कि EMA Partners is not just an Indian based company. The head office is in India, but they also have a good chunk of revenue from UAE, Dubai and Singapore. तो इनका I guess 72% revenue comes from India and बाकी का वहां से है, and those markets are growing at extremely high CAGR. And one thing to add is, if you are just following markets from last 2 months, you have seen कि almost 500 executives and top tier people have resigned and reappointments have been done. बहुत nifty 50s के ही almost 100 executives have changed the firms. तो this segment from December second half, Jan and Feb, ये 2-3 महीने में बहुत ज्यादा, मतलब आई वुड से कि 5 to 10 years का अगर मैं देखूं तो इन 2 महीने का resignations and new appointments have been the highest. तो दिस वाज वन मोर पॉइंट. एंड यार उसका बैलेंस शीट देता हूँ, मतलब यार लव एट फर्स्ट साइट वाला बैलेंस शीट है, वन ऑफ द बेस्ट बैलेंस शीट्स इन द एसएमई स्पेस. एंड आई नीड टू मेक अ कमेंट कि वन ऑफ द बेस्ट एसएमई कंपनीज कमिंग इनटू द मार्केट्स. एंड आई फील मेन बोर्ड लेवल का ये 150 करोड़ का आईपीओ हो सकता था एट 600-700. आई वुड हैव बीन वेरी हैप्पी टू पे दैट नंबर. और एक चीज है कि हाईली कैश जनरेटिंग बिजनेस, बैलेंस शीट बहुत क्लीन है, कैश की पैसे की कोई कमी नहीं है, अच्छा खासा कैश है कंपनी पे. और द सॉफ्टवेयर व्हाट दे आर मेकिंग, दैट इज दैट एआई ड्रिवन काइंड ऑफ अ सॉफ्टवेयर फॉर मिडिल लेवल एग्जीक्यूटिव्स. एंड इफ दैट picks up, then the company can grow very good. And see, I saw कि जो management I saw the interview where the person was actually very what we can say sophisticated and very good person, very experienced person who is running the firm. मतलब he is one of the face of the firm. And the level of clients they have, the partners they have, and what new acquisitions and partners hirings they are doing, and best on the cycle, I feel this company can consistently grow for 25% for next 10 years. मतलब if you are looking for a new SME company for that 5 years 10 years portfolio, this is a very good company for that. And such businesses you just check out, थोड़ा एक अलग, I'm not saying कि kind of businesses not very same to them, but मुद्रा हो जाए, प्रूडेंट हो जाए, और समवन लाइक मैपमा इंडिया भी, ये बहुत अलग बिजनेस है, बट आप इनका सेगमेंट देखिए, बहुत हाई मार्जिन कैश रिच बिजनेसेस विद दैट लीडरशिप गेट्स इमेंस मल्टीपल्स इन दिस इन द मार्केट्स. एंड द एलएम इज ऑल्सो क्वाइट गुड. इंडोरियंट इनका लास्ट आईपीओ यश हाई वोल्टेज था, दे ऑल्सो डिड मेन बोर्ड आईपीओ, ई मुद्रा लिमिटेड, फिर उनका और एक एसएमई आया था, ऑल हैड डूइंग एक्सट्रीमली गुड. एंड मतलब आई वुड नॉट बी सरप्राइज कि ये 90+ यूसी पे खुल जाए. मुझे पता है उस पर वैल्यूएशन स्ट्रेची हो जाएंगे, बट आई डोंट फील they are stretchy, because if Quest Corp is getting that 30-35 multiple, TeamLease is getting at 45 multiple, even if I say कि इनका 10-20% valuation ज्यादा है, this company should get FY25 times, FY25 earnings पे 40 times. Very solid business. And I guess India में these are I guess standalone level पे highest number 1 company. और ये यूएस में, यूरोप में बहुत बड़ा कल्चर है एग्जीक्यूटिव सर्च फर्म्स का, जो इंडिया में आज 1% भी नहीं है. बहुत पिकअप होने को टाइम है इसे. यूएस में ये बहुत होता है बिकॉज वन ऑफ माय नोन वर्क्स इन सच एन एग्जीक्यूटिव सर्च फॉर्म ही सेड कि यार इंडिया का पेनिट्रेशन बहुत बहुत ही ज्यादा कम है इन कंपनीज में और ये बाहर एक कल्चर बहुत ज्यादा है एंड और एक चीज ये भी है कि दिस जब ये व्हेन दे गिव एन एग्जीक्यूटिव टू अ फर्म इनका 6 months का आई गेस गारंटी पीरियड भी होता है तो दैट इज ऑल्सो आई फील अ प्लस पॉइंट इन दिस कंपनी कि आप रिटेंशन रख पा रहे हो और उनका रिटेंशन रेट भी अच्छा खासा है. So I'm quite bullish on this business, and if I get this at, and let's say 50% premium above IPO price, I am surely going to keep some in my portfolio. मतलब मुझे वो रेमस फार्मास्यूटिकल था ना मेरे पास वो 2 साल पहले वैसा वाला फीलिंग आ रहा है इसके अंदर कि this is certainly going to do well and first ever SME to get a mutual fund as an anchor.
Got it. Thanks, Tanmay.
अरे म्यूचुअल फंड से याद आया कि कैश रिस्क तो है कंपनी प्लस दे हैव डन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स ऑलमोस्ट अराउंड 11 करोड़ म्यूचुअल फंड्स वगैरह में, यूएस ट्रेजरी म्यूचुअल फंड्स, जिनका फेयर वैल्यू अभी इज ऑलमोस्ट अराउंड 15 करोड़. तो लिक्विडिटी का तो पैसे का तो इशू ही नहीं है इन्हें, वो जनरेट करते रहेंगे.
Correct.
Thanks, Tanmay. Thanks, Yash, for that. I think we have pretty much covered. EMA Partners going to apply, definitely keep in portfolio as well. Rohit, do you have anything to add, or we can move forward to capital?
I think it's fully covered. Just one point. I think agree with all the sentiments. Company is very high quality. Just one thing is the tax paid last year is a tactical point. Tax paid last year was less than normal. So their PAT number looks higher than it should. This year that will normalize. So even if there is a certain growth, just remember that if they pay full tax or as per the normal tax rate, there will not be as much bottom line earning growth. So just do that math and see, okay, even if they get to 90 crore, 100 crore, their earnings may actually not grow that much and accordingly give a multiple because last year's PAT was boosted by not paying tax or by paying very, very hardly their 11% tax rate or something last year, which looked like a one-off. And in the first half of this period or whatever 4 months they've declared, in that the tax is back to the full 26, 27%.
Yeah, so 13% extra last year, guys, about 26 hai. I have sent an email to the management to clarify what is the tax rate we should be considering. If I hear back, I'll kind of post it on my Twitter as well. With that, we'll kind of move forward and talk about the next company, which is Capital Numbers Infotech. The company is engaged in business of digital consulting and IT engineering, offering end-to-end software development, website development, mobile application development, and quality assurance. In terms of the IPO, company is bringing a huge size IPO, 170 CR for a SME, out of which 84 crores is a fresh issue and 84 crores is a 84.5 OFS. So half of it is fresh, half of it promoters are taking an exit. So a big chunk of exit OFS is being done in this company. Market cap at which it is coming is 640 crores market cap. So in terms of the financials, the company did a revenue of 100 crores and a PAT of 26 crores. So they have a very decent, like big PAT for a SME, 26 crores in FY24. And they're coming at like pretty richly valued, like 24, 25 PE on FY24 basis. In terms of the LMs, the LM is GYR Capital. So with that, Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about capital numbers, sorry.
Sure. I'll try and cover this efficiently because I've already spent an hour. So like you said, it's a 170 crore issue, half OFS, half fresh. So they are effectively a software development firm. They have around 250 clients and they offer services across the full gamut of typical IT services. They do mobile and web development, data analytics. They obviously do some AI ML. I'll get to that later. Cloud engineering, which is basically migrating companies from on-premise to cloud, which is something that's been going on for the last many, many years, UI, UX design, and so on and so forth. This company is a bootstrap company, no dilution so far from promoters, very clean company, no litigations. They have a bunch of important certifications, which are very important from a client standpoint to tell that, data will be protected, IP will be protected. But to be fair, whatever other smallish mainboard IT companies also have all of these certifications. So these other companies in this 500 to 1,000 crore, they will all have the same set of certifications. So it's not a differentiation. I'd say it's like it's needed. It's essential. They operate in two models. They do project based, where they would take ownership of the project fully and their team would do it and then they will deliver that project back to the client. and the other is a time and material, which is effectively like a staffing based thing. Think that a client needs and has a requirement and needs 10 developers. This company will then identify those 10 developers and contract those developers out to the company, and they will be charged on a time, for their time. So so the second one, the time and material one, is generally considered a very riskless kind of model, because you're basically just acquiring that developer for, let's say, 1 lakh salary and you're charging 1.5 lakh. So there's no project risk there. Whereas in the project based one, which is where I think they do 90% of their revenue, that's where the margins are higher. And of course the risk is also there. But I'd say as an investor, you want to be investing in companies that are able to generate high margins. Now, my sense from the case studies that they've given is that they're primarily a web and app developer, web app mobile kind of developer. They don't do a lot of this internal sort of tech work, this IT infra management, data management, any of that sort of that side, the back-end tech work, they don't really do. And it's more of the front-end development for clients. At least that is the sense I could get from a lot of the case studies that they have given. They have not given this revenue breakup of the different kinds of work that they do in the RHP. And there are a bunch of things they've actually not given in the RHP, which are, in my view, essential for analyzing an IT services company. Now, one question is, of course, they have talked about AI, ML. Now, general view is, what does that mean and how will that affect IT services companies? This is my personal view. It's that initially, at least for the next few years, while you have very powerful tools like ChatGPT and the full gamut of Gen AI tools that are coming in the market, most companies need to understand how to use them and how to implement them in the organization, whether it is directly using an AI tool or using these AI agents, which is a new buzzword. And they will need help from players like a Capital Numbers or, the entire spectrum of IT services companies. So this market is likely to remain strong for some time. I don't know how sustainable it is in a 5-year, 10-year period, but certainly next few years, there will be a lot of business for these guys on the AI side in terms of helping other companies adopt AI tools. The numbers that this company's posted are very strong. They did 98 crore last year. They've done 50 crore in H1. They should do maybe 27, 28 crore PAT this year with phenomenal margins, 35% EBITDA, 30 to 35% consistent EBITDA. So it's not like this has been raised for the IPO year or pre-IPO year. Even 3 or 4 years back, they were doing 32, 33% EBITDA. And this is by far the highest I've seen. They try to explain it saying that based on the projects that they choose, plus of course they say that they keep a very low bench, which allows them to keep the people cost low. So, they do just in time hiring and so on, some optimizations. I mean, it's working. Clearly, it's not a one-off thing. So they're doing something here. So that is one thing that is, I would say, an outlier or a special spark in this company. In an interview at the management said they want to grow around 25%. They said they want to double in 3 years, which is a 25, 27% year-on-year growth, which is solid. Balance sheet is also, again, very strong. I think this is a back-to-back company that we're seeing with very strong balance sheets, virtually no liabilities, very good conversion of EBITDA to cash flows. Generally, this is considered a hallmark of IT companies, but good to see this in the, in the SME segment. Other soft things, you can see a lot of strong ratings on online platforms. I've noticed that these guys do a lot more than any of the other, I'd say, competing IT services, the small IT services companies. But at least in the platforms that you've mentioned, there are a lot of very good reviews, very good testimonials, and overall good ratings across these platforms, which I think says good things about how the company is able to deliver its projects. So how do we value this company? So an IT company, typically the 3-4 things you look at. Firstly, this is largely people, right? It is a people arbitrage business instead of a company I just mentioned this one thing. This is a 100% export company. All their business comes from, I think majority is from the US and then some parts from UK and I think at 50% from US, 20% from UK and the rest from rest of the world. So again, coming back, so this is an people arbitrage business. So the cost obviously in India is much cheaper. So two factors here. What is the utilization and what is the attrition? These are two really important things. And I personally couldn't get any information on this in the RHP. They did mention that their senior management at least has been around and their attrition is in par with industry and senior management has been around for 10, 12 years. That's just verbal, no data behind it. The second information that I thought was missing was there's no mention of their order book or the total contract value, which is typically what IT service companies talk about. I couldn't find this information anywhere. The third was just repeat percentage. Couldn't get that information. The last thing is probably just on, it's a point that has come up recently, which is with the rupee depreciating. Is that good for IT services companies? In my view, not really. Because while US has depreciated, or we have sort of depreciated relative to the US. We have not depreciated as much as some of the other currencies, like European currencies and so on. So actually, if you see net-net, there is actually no change. And it's ultimately a risk. So how well they hedge that risk, I think, is more important than saying, okay, suddenly the dollar is more valuable, so they will make more money, but they'll actually also make lesser money from some of the other countries that they export to. So that's a separate thing. I don't think we should even look at that's a factor in the IT services side. One thing here, the anchors are very, very good. Copthall is taken 15%, which is a JP Morgan, I think, entity. White Oak, we just spoke about EMA being the first with a mutual fund, first SME with a mutual fund. The next day, White Oak is back in this company. So 10% of capital numbers is anchor is White Oak. And then there are a bunch of other SME, mix of normal and good SME investors, I would say. Overall, the anchor book is very solid, especially, given the size of this company. The company is coming at 24 times trailing multiple. If you look at just average of half of last year plus the first half of this year, generally IT services companies, good Mainboard, decent, they'll show many of the similar traits in terms of growth, in terms of cash flow, in terms of quality of the balance sheet and so on. They generally trade at, like normal IT service companies trade at 20 to 30. You would see them just 21, 22 up to like 28, 29 times. There are a few niche Mainboards that do have high growth that trade at 40, 50, 60x. Those are fairly rare and they will generally be very niche in what they do. So I don't see this as, sitting in that bucket at all. At the end of the day, these guys do largely web and app development. There is nothing super niche in what they do. I think the price that they're coming is actually very fair. I don't see a lot of upside, maybe 20%, 30%, 10%, something in that range, especially given the size of this company. So it's not looking like a very large listing gain kind of candidate, especially given the size of the issue. So it's a good, solid company, but yet another IT services company. And if it had come at slightly cheaper, I would have felt that there was more listing gain to be had. But at 24 times trailing, I don't see that much, left on the table. I personally am not a big fan of IT services businesses, so I don't really invest in this from a personal portfolio level. So I will be applying this for this because it is going to be easy to get allotment and you can get some small gain, but not really something I will hold for the long term, given my own style. I urge each one to just pick their own this thing, but I don't see as much listing gain as what the GMP is suggesting.
Got it. And in terms of this is clashing with EMA Partners, right? So you could either apply an EMA or capital numbers, right?
Correct. See, this is really big. In fact, both are pretty large. So I think this will probably subscribe somewhere around 200, 250 times. I don't think it should be able to subscribe more than that because EMA itself will be about 400 times or so. It's 400, maybe 450. So that leaves only this much capital for these two. So probably easy to get allotment, but somehow I don't think this will have the kind of listing gain that the gray market seems to think. Because it will become 30, 35, 36 for a mobile app developer who wants to grow 20, 25%. IT service companies generally don't trade at such high multiples, barring like a few exceptions. So I don't see why this particular company, what is so different about this company outside of maybe very high EBITDA margin, that also kind of caps it, right? You cannot increase your EBITDA margins anymore. So there isn't any earnings upside that is likely. It will simply now grow as its top line grows. And if top line grows 25%, earnings will grow 25%. So I don't see why this company should get very, very high multiple. And I would be very comfortable acquiring this company at IPO price, but not at say 50% more.
Got it. In terms of the anchor, again, saw mutual fund anchor, same White Oak taking a stake here as well, right? Do you want to talk about anchor book, otherwise how it was?
Yeah, I think I mentioned, Copthall has taken the largest position, 15%, and then White Oak has taken 10%. And then there are a bunch of regular SME anchors. So it's like this, two, three really good anchors, unusual anchors, and then a bunch of normal anchors.
Got it. Yeah. With that, we have covered capital numbers, and maybe we can, in the interest of time, move forward and talk about one company, SME Rexpro Enterprises, very quickly in the next 5 minutes before we move to the Mainboard Denta Water. And it's Denta Water is one which you should stick around to listen to, because we really like the company and how it is being valued. We'll talk about that, but yeah, before that, just covering Rexpro Enterprises. The company manufactures furniture for offices, hospitals, government offices, and the growing home segment, and has 3 manufacturing units in Vashi, Maharashtra. In terms of the IPO, the company is coming up with an IPO of 54 crores, out of which 47 crores is a fresh issue, and a small 7 CR OFS. Company is valuing itself at 162 crores. So they're diluting like 54 CR dilute kar rahe hain at 162 crores. So diluting 33% rather than a regular 26%, 33% dilution hai. And in terms of the financials, company did a revenue of 83 crores in FY24, PAT of 5 crores. So 5 crores ka PAT hai coming at 162 crores. So like, sorry, 36 ka PE पे आ रही है on FY24 basis. Seems expensive at first look, but in terms of LM, the LM is Horizon Management. Talking about the company, what the company basically does is it manufactures furniture and other such products and then sells them mostly in Maharashtra. It's a B2B play, and they now want to get into B2G, but yeah, mostly what they do is they manufacture furnitures and then manufacture POSM, which is essentially point of sales material. तो जैसे हम स्टोर्स में जाते हैं, शॉपर स्टॉप का हो गया, लेंस कार्ट का हो गया, उन स्टोर्स में जो वो रैक वगैरह बने रहते हैं जिसपे display होती हैं सब चीजें, that those are the things which this company kind of produces, and then it also provides these services to commercial and institutional furniture for offices, hospitals, government offices, and then have recently developed industrial products like racks, cabinets, and trolleys, as I said. What they have also interestingly done, very small segment, but if this can grow, then it will get a different PE, is they have manufactured sound barriers which are installed on flyovers in Bombay. जो ताकि इधर का साउंड उधर न जाए, पर से those they have done, and then they have also ventured into double doors which are used in metro stations. तो मेट्रो में अगर आप देखा होगा कि मेट्रो से पहले ना एक डोर रहता है जो खुलता है, जो सेफ्टी के लिए होता है, ताकि तुम मेट्रो के ट्रैक पे ना जा पाओ while the metro is not there. तो वो जो डबल डोर्स होते हैं वो भी इनने मैन्युफैक्चर किए हैं अभी अपने इन हाउस, एंड उनको भी बेचेंगे ये. बट या मोस्टली इट्स अ फर्नीचर सेल्स बिजनेस, B2B बिजनेस विच दे आर डूइंग. इनके वेंडर्स हैं, लॉन्ग टर्म वेंडर्स हैं, लाइक they provide these furnitures to Shoppers Stop, to Samsung, to Hindustan Unilever, Lenskart, Mark and Spencer, Reliance India, Godrej and Boyce. तो ऐसे करके इनके ये हैं, और इनकी at any moment of time 15 CR की ऑर्डर बुक रहती है, which they are able to cover within 2 months, and then have a billing cycle of about 6 months. So they need long working capital per se. और ये जो रेस कर रहे हैं 47 CR fresh, इसमें से around 25 CR is going to purchase equipments and to renovate their factory, 10 CR for working capital, 3 CR for inorganic growth, and rest for general corporate purposes. While all of this seems interesting, where I lost focus was just on the PE side. The company has done like FY24 में जैसा मैंने बताया 5 CR और 83 CR. FY23 में वो 62 CR था, जो कि पैट काफी कम था, 64 lakhs था. So even if I ignore that part and I assume that now is what the correct PAT margin is, because I'm assuming at least they would do, like, this doesn't seem inflated to me, 5-6% PAT margin. For H1 also they have done like 50 CR revenue and 4 CR PAT. So even if I consider that they are growing very fast, then also the PE seems to kind of cover it. Like if I take a annualized PE and I am assuming कि वो 100 CR revenue कर देते हैं और 8 CR PAT करते हैं, so the company is coming at like 20 PE. Which I feel is pretty much what the market is like. एक नमन इन स्टोर करके very similar company आई थी. It's trading at 20 P. Now the only problem with Naman in store is that Naman in store has actually degrown. तो अगर ये ग्रो कर पाती है at that fast pace, तब तो this company को हमें वो PE देना चाहिए ज्यादा, and it should actually deserve a premium over Naman in store, but that all depends on इसके जो future plans है. In terms of short term, I feel pretty much covered है. So market can look at the growth at which this company has been growing and become excited, and because of which there might be some listing in. Also there can be some listing in simply because उस time पे कोई IPO नहीं है. 24th पे only this and then Denta Water are the two companies, both of which are very small. So these will have crazy subscription irrespective of what premiums they have, like as long as they are even minuscule. तो उसकी वजह से हो सकता है कंपनी अच्छा करे, but I would get out if I get in this at whatever listing pop I get, because again doesn't seem like a business which is like a lot of unique things going for it, unless like वो जो double doors बनाते हैं metro के, sound barriers बनाते हैं, those are still at least some precision level required. Other than that, this segment of POSM materials, retail furnitures, etc. didn't seem interesting to me at least. In terms of the balance sheet, also 50 crores balance sheet, only 13 crores are their own money, 35 crores borrowings, which is majorly used for 20 CR inventory and 23 CR trades receivable. But yeah, all of that is essentially like in a cycle. So don't think balance sheet is how you would expect a company like this to have a balance sheet. But वही है कि Naman has actually died, so and still at 20p when the company is degrown. If this company's growth people get excited, then this can give you a 30-40% listing. But I'll get out as soon as I get that. That is my very initial read. Haven't listened to any interviews because nothing was available yet. We'll see when it goes. Maybe there are specific plans with respect to the precision materials when this can get a higher P. But at least for now, I think almost everything which this company had is being priced in at the listing price. And if I get in, I'll get out on listing per se is what my thought process is. I'm assuming, Rohit and Tanmay, you guys have nothing to add on this, and I can move forward and talk about the last company, right? Just with yes.
Nothing much to add.
Okay. So with that,
No idea, man.
yeah, you guys gave me this very conveniently this morning, this company. So it's okay. With that, moving forward, setting up the last company, which is Denta Water and Infra Solutions. The company is a water infrastructure solutions company engaged in designing, installation and commissioning water management infrastructure projects with expertise in groundwater recharge projects. Just setting up the IPO, it's a 220 crore IPO, all of which is a fresh issue. The market cap is 785 crores. So the company is diluting like 25%, even more than that, like 28-29%. And in terms of the financials, the company did 242 crores of revenue in FY24 and a PAT of 60 crores. So it's coming at like 12 to 13 PE, very cheap at least at a PE level. And the company seems to be growing and doing good numbers as well. In terms of the LM is SMC Capital. So just having set up the company, Tanmay, do you want to go ahead and talk about Denta Water?
Yes, so Denta Water and Infra Solutions is a Bangalore-based water management infrastructure company which has a deep expertise in groundwater recharging projects. Basically, it's a water EPC company. Okay, and they also derive very small revenues from railway and road infra. Okay, roads करते थोड़ा सा, railways में भी थोड़ा सा एक chunk है. As of now, this company has completed 32 projects and 17 projects are in their ongoing pipeline. They have if you see the order book at standalone level, it looks like an 1100 crore kind of, but some of that is executed and outstanding order book is 752 crores. The company is raising 220 crores, 220.5 crores, 150 crores for working capital, rest 70.5 crores GCP. मतलब ये जो 25% GCP का रूल है, they have lapsed that rule. Maybe listing expenses निकाल के 25% बैठ रहा होगा. Ideally this should be the case. Now I'll come on its financials. FY23 176 crores top line, 50.1 crores PAT. FY24 they did a growth of kind of a 30-35% to 42 crores top line and 59.7 crores PAT. In H1, the revenue is 98.5 crores and PAT is 24.2 crores. Now, if I just check out their H1, they have an unbilled revenue of 47 crores. मतलब 47 crores का project deliver कर चुके हैं, but as इनका billing नहीं हुआ है, so that has been unbilled. But if I add up that, then that number, मतलब ideally इनका जब साल खत्म होने में आता है ना, तभी ये payments वगैरह आते हैं, then they might book the revenues in H2. So if I see that, then roughly 145 they have done in H1 only. Now, based on the working capital estimates of the company, first of all, I would say कि 2025 का FY25 का जो प्रोजेक्शंस है वर्किंग कैपिटल के, उसके हिसाब से द कंपनी इज आइंग एन ग्रोथ ऑफ 25% इन FY25, मतलब रेवेन्यू ऑफ रफली 300 करोड़ एंड पैट ऑफ रफली 70 करोड़, एंड FY26 दे हैव प्रोजेक्टेड अ 35% काइंड ऑफ अ ग्रोथ बेस्ड ऑन द वर्किंग कैपिटल एस्टिमेट्स। दैट टॉप लाइन मतलब कंजर्वेटिव थोड़ा सा 35%, उससे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा भी हो सकता है, तो उसके हिसाब से द रेवेन्यू कम्स एट 400 to 420 करोड़ एंड पैट ऑफ रफली 100 करोड़। Now, there are few risks associated with this company. One of their promoters, C. Mrutyunjaya Swamy, was there was a litigation from PWD and police inquiry. Then this matter also went in ED. This promoter was an ex PWD officer only. So इनका केस था कि he is using his powers and giving the company the orders. तो ये सारा मामला था, but the litigation has been completely resolved, and actually this promoter is actually retired from the company now. He is no longer a promoter group entity, and the thing has also gone resolved. The second point is, after the company filed DRHP, there were few untraceable persons who had written complaint to the SEBI regarding the same thing ki this promoter used his powers and got orders for the company and kuch bribery वगैरह है. So that has been case, but SEBI has done its due diligence and cleared off this case, and now the IPO is hitting the markets. And I read the thing, but I didn't felt कि ये बहुत ज्यादा मटेरियल होना चाहिए, because the litigation amount was I guess pretty low. अमाउंट जस्टिफाई मतलब दिखाया नहीं था, बट जो एक जगह पे एक रफ सेंस में नंबर लिखा था वो बहुत छोटा था, एंड आई डिडंट फेल्ट कि ये बहुत कुछ ज्यादा मटेरियल है. द थर्ड थिंग इज थोड़ा सा रिस्क है कि देयर 70 to 75% रेवेन्यूज कम फ्रॉम गवर्नमेंट, एंड ये मेजोरिटी कर्नाटका में इनका बिजनेस, आई गेस 90% इनका बिजनेस कर्नाटका में है, बैंगलोर रिलेटेड एरियाज में है, थोड़ा कोलार वगैरह में है. तो ये एक जोग्राफिकल रिस्क है, बट द थिंग इज each water EPC company has a base in its some geography, then फिर वहां से वो expand करते जाते हैं. बट आई रिमेम्बर कि जब इनका DRH पे आया था, they were tapping the markets of महाराष्ट्र, उत्तर प्रदेश एंड आई गेस वन मोर स्टेट, आई गेस इट वाज गुजरात. तो इन 3 स्टेट्स में भी दे आर टैपिंग, बट एज ऑफ नाउ ये इनका मेजरली रेवेन्यूज कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड इन कर्नाटक ओनली. This is a good significant negative कि in last 1 year they have changed 2 CFOs, और इनका third CFO बैठे हैं, तो 2 CFOs have resigned. तो अभी इसकी 2 चीजें, एक तो the CFOs had their own issues, or the company might have some problem, the company is not able to retain the KMPs. And one more thing was कि cash flows at what we can say before working capital changes, they are okay, but cash generation from operations in FY23 was around 70 crores, which fell to 42 crores even after 25% growth in revenue. But मतलब it's part of the business, because थोड़ा सा payment cycle delay हो गया, या फिर the company might have invested some amount in capex, so that's possible. But overall, if I check out at FY24, the company is coming at 13.1 time. At FY25 estimated, the company is coming at a P of 11, and on FY26 मतलब next financial पर 7 के P पे आ रहा है. मतलब I am actually very happy कि the banker is SMC Capital Markets, and I would like to praise them कि in such kind of markets a good growth company is been priced at this valuations, leaving very good scope for retail investors. मतलब यार आजकल ये valuations पे IPO आना और कोई भी कंपनी मिलना is actually extremely rare. So we need to praise them, and I feel listing gains I will not be surprised कि ये मतलब लिस्टिंग पे दुगना हो जाए, because यार बहुत ही ज्यादा चीप वैल्यूएशंस पे आया है. एंड कंपनी, आई सॉ द मैनेजमेंट, सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द IPO हैज बीन डिक्लेयर्ड जस्ट 2 days बैक, एंड आई गेस फर्स्ट इंटरव्यू शेड्यूल्ड मंडे. तो अभी तक कोई भी इंटरव्यू अवेलेबल नहीं है, बट व्हाट आई कुड रीड आउट ऑफ the RHP and the PPT or the few data related to the company. The company is pretty well run, बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं, and the promoter is also good, I guess 20-30 years of experience. तो I would say no brainer है listing gains as well as for long term, and मतलब after getting the IPO money they don't have any need to raise any bank debt at least for next 2 years what I could sense, and after that जो cash generate होगा उसमें से भी they could fund half of the growth in FY27, तो half they would do by bank debt or maybe one more equity raise. So the company has a good concrete plan for a growth, and FY26 400 crore top line they could reach, and this year they should reach 300 crore top line, around that only. So overall a good scale company at very very attractive valuations. I guess this is a no brainer, must apply for listing. It's मतलब I would not be surprised कि दुगना खुल जाए. Okay, very high likely chances कि it would list at 100%, and even after that that should get enough traction, because see 1400 crores even if it lists at 2 times मतलब double हो जाता है, तो 1400 crores पे FY25 estimated PAT is like roughly 71 crores, तो उसके हिसाब से फिर भी वो 13 टाइम पे रहेगा. And on FY26 even if it lists at 2 times it would trade let's say kind of what we get 14 times, and FY25 पे sorry I told the wrong number, 20 times पे रहेगा. So still it's not that expensive compared to the peers. The peers they have shown Vishnu this EMS Limited and Vatek Vabag, but all of this infra except Ion Exchange I guess this Enviro Infra is also peer of it, that is trading at like roughly 30 times kind of. So this company is coming at very cheap valuations, must apply, no brainer है. मतलब I don't feel कि by any chance this is not going to deliver any kind of a listing.
Got it. So हम अभी डेंटा वाटर इंफ्रा की बात कर रहे थे जिसका आईपीओ नेक्स्ट वीक आने वाला है. जस्ट वांट टू हाईलाइट कि अगर आपने यूट्यूब चैनल नहीं ज्वाइन किया है तो ऊपर उसका लिंक है. आई विल पुट ऑल ऑफ दीज कंपनीज रिव्यूज देयर एज वेल, सो आप अपने लेजर पे सुन सकते हैं. But as we develop more clarity on Denta Water as well as Rexpro, we'll post them on our Twitter channels as well. But yeah, with that, we can kind of close the space. If anyone has any final comments, we can take them, or else we can close the space as we have been doing this for 1.5 hours. Probably one of our biggest spaces till date.
I'll just say a couple of things on Denta. I've not like studied it as much because this is very new. But I've seen the water space a little, and see, one is Denta's margins. One good thing is the margins are sustained, and if anything, they've come down from even more elevated levels over the last years. But these margins are unusual. Like to have 25% PAT margin, like the best in class is supposed to be 25% EBITDA. Now we're seeing 25% PAT. So that is one thing which needs to be understood as to why. I know they do slightly unique things. They do this groundwater irrigation, groundwater recharge, which is the main thing that they do. Is there something unique about that business that is giving them this margin? Or is it because they have political connects, they're able to get these orders at excellent margins? Which means that say if they go out from Karnataka to the next state and the next state, if they don't have the same, I know this one of the promoters has, was in the political scene in Karnataka. Now if they have to go and do this in Gujarat or in some other state, they're not going to get the same margins. That's the implication at least. So what is the reason for the margin? Tanmay.
I don't know the reason, but I have considered, मतलब मैंने impliedly जो I said you the earnings ना, उसमें I have already reduced the margins by 200 basis points for next 2 years. So I know this question was coming, so I have already discounted. तो मैंने 100 crore का number बोला ना, उसमें discounted है वो. And the reason, see, मतलब I don't have any concrete answer on this, but मतलब Karnataka based company है, Bangalore based company है, they are doing everything in those kind of region only, and they have done pretty good work. There was a place where from last 15 years that place was a disaster prone area, and now the whole city, or we can say that whole region is a farming heavy place, and they have good irrigation wells. I feel मतलब they are doing pretty good work. And at the second point what you said, that is I feel वो तो सबके साथ ही है. So the margins have been already discounted, and as no much data is available and we are not available for next week, we had to cover this today only. But I'll post that in my final verdict what is the reason shortly. But overall मुझे इतना तो issue नहीं लगा उसमें. I feel they should sustain.
I think it'll be better to hear that. Like I said, that interview is pending. The interviews with the management, which should come. I think once you hear it, we'll see your final review also. But it'll give me some comfort that these margins are because there is something inherent in the business as opposed to there. Because otherwise, this margin in EPC is ridiculously high. The last time this came, what was that, Garuda Construction, crazy margins. Again, it was, none of us believed it. And market also didn't initially, then later it did. And the price has been all over the place. So this was the one thing. I think just let's track that once the interviews come out, just sustenance of this. Otherwise, the company looks incredibly. I think this political connect will also lead to a little, maybe discount, yeah, but like I don't think politically connected companies get as high multiples as more traditional sort of run companies. So let's see that also. But yeah, overall looks good.
And I remember there was a company just from the similar region, Uday Kumar Infra. I guess it was 1.5 years back. GMP was 60%, it listed at 20% discount. It was a similar political kind of connect and infra business. But and I feel this quality of the business is, I guess, pretty good. And let's see. And actually, since inception, they are doing those kind of a margin. And one more good thing is, if you check out the revenue mix in FY 22-23, there I guess 50-60% revenue came from the subcontracting work. Okay, and now there I guess more than half of order book is with consortium partner. 30% is their self-bidded orders, and 20% is still subcontracting. But yes, in subcontracting, getting this margins is tough. I agree on that point. But let's check out the interview once.
Got it. With that, we have kind of covered the review for all 6 companies coming in next week. Happy IPOing, everyone. We will see you back in the Jan 4th week episode. In the meanwhile, please join the YouTube channel if you haven't. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.